Hello.
Hi,
Hi, Anisah.
how are you? Good evening.
Good evening. How are you holding up in the heat?
Well, I love it. Like, I love the heat,
Yeah.
but this is a next level.
This
So
is a next level
I'm
for
trying
us
to
in
keep
England,
still.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Let me just turn you up a bit. Yeah, I mean, some parts are like, oh, this is nice when you catch a breeze, and then
Yeah.
when it's just still, so I'm literally trying to be as still as possible.
Oh, I know. I was before this. I was literally lying down just in front of the fan, like because
Exactly.
we've ordered an air conditioning unit, but it hasn't come, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
That's exactly the same. I think there's a shortage because I've been waiting for two fans for about 2 weeks. So.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
no.
we're not getting our plans anytime soon.
Yeah, I know, I know. But thank you so much for joining us today, joining me
Thank you for
today.
having me.
No, and I've always absolutely, I know you know this already, but I absolutely love your business. I love the ethos behind it, everything it
Thanks.
stands for. I just think what you guys are doing is incredible. So I would love for you to just start by telling us a bit about Mamba Pub and what it is that you actually do.
Definitely, yes. So as you all know, Mum Bum Hub is a wellness brand, but it's also what we like to say like a support system for women, particularly women who are pregnant and within the postpartum period. And ultimately, our focus is on the fourth trimester. And you know, that's obviously quite transformative time and quite can be vulnerable for some women.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore we stepped in to make sure that we're offering that right support.
Mm-hmm.
And the tools and resources to be able to make it through that time. And of course, you'll know it's a multifaceted experience.
Mm-hmm.
But we just wanted to focus on, you know, the recovery and, you know, practical tips and tools in the form of postpartum care products that can really help you to recover immediately after birth.
Mm-hmm. Was that based on your own experiences, yourself and Nairi's personal experiences of motherhood? Why you
Yeah,
specifically wanted to focus on the postpartum period?
definitely. I would say Mum Bob Hub is a culmination of Nairi and myself's experience as mothers. Nairi was pregnant 6 months before me, so she was able to sort of give me a little what to expect,
Yeah,
but in the most candid and real, you know, real format that I
yeah,
wasn't really receiving. You know, I spent months not having any clear indication of what to expect physically, emotionally.
yes,
So that was quite a big motivating factor, I
yeah,
would say. But then also once I'd given birth and once I started to have more conversations with other women, it was clear that, you know, it was a common factor for so many women.
yeah,
So it was
yeah,
more really to open up that conversation and to empower women to make sure that we're informed and, you know, and continue to do it again and feel prepared to do
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's
So,
what I love about your business, about your CIC. I mean, I think I love the kind of the setup of what you do, because you have these gorgeous products that you put so much love and care into, but then there's the other side of it, that you use the funds to provide services for women that may not necessarily have the means to access them. And like you said, it's the education, isn't it? It's because I was the
exactly.
same. I was, throughout my first pregnancy, I was just completely naive. I was just like, my body's going to know what to do. I never picked up one baby book. I was just like, I'm gonna know what to do because this is instinctive. And you're right,
Yeah.
I didn't have a clue about what to expect. And I don't think you ever do have a realistic idea of what to expect as a first-time parent, but at the same
Exactly.
time there is that basic level of education and information
Mhm.
about what's going to happen to your body, you know, what can happen emotionally, mentally. Do you know what I mean? And
Yes,
my experience
definitely.
was the same as yours when I started to speak about these things, because I always found it quite taboo to talk about these things, because there was always this kind of idealism that as women this naturally happens to us, so we know what to expect, we know what to do.
Yeah.
And if that experience isn't yours, then there's something wrong with that. And I find that
Yeah.
attitude really unhealthy and something that we need to change. So I love what you're saying about the education around it, because I think it's so key to really creating healthy motherhood experiences and creating safe spaces for women Sorry, I'm
This is
just
it. Yeah,
rambling.
no, this is basically it. And that's the thing, the same things you're saying. Every time we speak to a mother or a grandparent or even a husband, they can always relate, you know. When I tell people what I do, and when Nairi meets people and we tell them what we do, it's instant, you know, you get that connection, and everyone always has an experience or a postpartum story to tell. And the one common theme is, you know, I wish I knew this before. I wish
Yeah,
somebody had informed me it would be like this, or I wish I had more support. So it's really just about opening up the space to have that conversation, I think, first and
yeah.
foremost, because it's so easy for someone, like you say, to just go through the motions, have a
Mhm.
baby, and then when baby arrives, the focus it tends to be on the newborn baby, isn't it?
That's
So
right. That's right. So I feel
yeah,
like the ethos of what we do is so closely aligned because we're about pulling that focus back to mum, aren't we? Like
that's right. Yes,
focusing on those ancient cultural traditions of bringing that focus back to mum, building her up, making sure she's fed, making sure she's watered, making sure she's healthy, so that
yes.
she can give her best to that baby. Because as we know, like baby's well-being is so intrinsically linked to
Mhm.
mum, you know? So it's
Exactly.
key. And I feel like those ideals have just been lost along the way. And it's really something that we need to try and bring back.
I totally agree. I totally, and that's another thing that we try to do as well. Like you say, the ethos is quite aligned because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the ingredients we use and a lot of the practices that we advise women to use, they are rooted in homeopathy, rooted in ancient tradition, and like you say, it's about bringing back the culture or bringing back the traditions that your great grandmother or mothers before you
That's
may have
right.
advised you to use.
Yeah.
And you know, it might seem in today's age that it doesn't make sense, but when you try it, as I have, it makes a lot of sense, and
Yeah.
it can accelerate your recovery. For example, if you're using particular herbs, like we include in our postpartum bath soap, for example, you know, we've
Mm-hmm.
got plantain, yarrow leaf. We're targeting antibacterial and anti-inflammatory
Right.
properties to
Mm-hmm.
try and alleviate some of those symptoms that you experience after
Mm-hmm.
childbirth. Now,
Mm-hmm.
how would you know that if you don't have something, a sort of bridge or a leeway to have that conversation? You wouldn't know that. Like we always say, you don't know what you don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
about making those things accessible as well.
You're right. You're right. And it's about not losing those references from the past, you know, because I feel like it's become a way, like we listen to westernized concepts of what medicine is and how to look after our bodies, and things like
Yeah,
homeopathy, alternative therapies are kind of frowned down upon, like, oh, you shouldn't
yeah,
use those because they're not tried and trusted, they're not reliable. But it's like we've
yeah,
been using these herbs, these ingredients for thousands, for centuries, and they've been
exactly.
working. So it's just like, it's just changing the attitude around that, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. And like I said, making it accessible and
Mm-hmm.
educating people so it doesn't seem like such a foreign concept.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
feel like that, you know, sometimes if you say to somebody, oh, would you try a soak or a six pan after giving birth? There'll
Hmm.
be a big question mark. But when you explain why and how that can really accelerate
Yeah,
healing, then, you know,
yeah.
and not just healing, but also your well-being, you know, feeling that you're actually being intentional about your recovery and
Hmm.
trying to do something for yourself after
That's
giving
right.
birth. I think that is one of the key things that we try to promote, you know, being
Yeah.
intentional about your postpartum recovery.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's
No,
key.
I completely agree. I just wanted to ask, like, some of the ingredients that you use, how do you like create your products? Because some of the ingredients you use are so interesting. Like I just find it really amazing, like how the different kind of things that you have in some of your soaps and so forth. Like, what is
Yeah.
like a general overview of the thought process behind creating a product?
So, I mean, it would depend on obviously I don't want to say the issue, but you know, what a woman is experiencing. What are we experiencing after childbirth? You know,
Mm-hmm.
instantly, when I've had my three children, some of the symptoms I've had are swelling,
Mm-hmm.
you know, soreness, inflammation,
Mm-hmm.
redness. And then naturally you start to think about what sort of herbs or, you know, not product, sorry, herbal remedies would
Mm-hmm.
help to alleviate that. So, for example, arnica, even before I had children, I knew that arnica was
Mm-hmm.
something that can reduce swelling and
Mm-hmm.
bruising, and that's a key ingredient within our perennial balm, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Witch hazel, for example, that's something that's been used for
Yes.
centuries.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an analgesic, which is like, a pain reliever. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's about using natural remedies to just,
Mm-hmm.
alleviate some of these symptoms. You
Lovely.
can use it with, painkillers if you want, but there are alternatives, and
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to let women know. There
Yeah.
are other ways.
You're just trying to open up the options, aren't you, and give those
Yeah,
other pathways more visibility, the visibility that they so rightly deserve, you know?
this is it. As you all
Yeah.
know, as a tea wizard. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have Nairi, cooking up concoctions. We
Uh-huh.
actually we test all of the products ourselves before we put them out to market. So I have tried everything in the range for
Mm-hmm.
its, efficiency and to make sure that
Yeah.
it's worked for me, having three very different types of births. And
Yes.
yeah, I'll be the first to say that
Yeah.
they work. And the feedback we get from some of the women we've worked with and our customers is amazing, honestly.
Mm-hmm. No, I,
People
I
do say
love your
that,
products. Like I've bought them
thank
for other people. Unfortunately, not for myself because I haven't had
you.
another baby. But everybody's loved them. They just said they're absolutely gorgeous. And I wouldn't have you on here if I didn't believe in what you do. And I just think you guys are
Aw,
incredible. Like as I said before. So I just wanted to get
that means a
more
lot. Thank you.
give more visibility to the brand in the sense of the other
Yes.
side of things, the services you provide. Like how do women access the services, and what type of things do you provide?
Yes, so it's probably worth me saying at the beginning, Mumbar Hub is a social enterprise, and so we like to give back to the community. So what we do is the profits from the products that we sell is reinvested back into the business, and then we use that to deliver, specific antenatal support.
Mm-hmm.
For example, during the pandemic, when women were, particularly feeling isolated,
Mm-hmm.
and myself, I was pregnant during the pandemic. I
Yeah.
didn't get as much support from previous births.
Mm-hmm.
So it was about really creating that space, again, a virtual space for women to access
Mm-hmm.
support. And that looked like hypnobirthing, for example,
Okay.
um, one-to-one consulting with like holistic wellness support.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we had perinatal psychologists as well that
Oh
offered sort
wow.
of group sessions. So yeah, that was really amazing. Trying to really unpick birth trauma as well in some of the sessions.
Yeah.
There's so
Wow.
much in the perinatal space that where conversations can be had, and yeah, it's about trying to bring that all together. And so what we found from delivering that workshop and those
Mm-hmm.
virtual sessions is that there's such a demand,
Mm-hmm.
that for us it's really about how do we scale that so that it
Yeah.
can be delivered for more women,
Yeah.
because we were oversubscribed. So
Oh wow.
yeah, if you're trying to access support, we can always signpost you to the relevant services,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, we'll be looking at future steps for further support, hopefully in person
Wonderful.
soon.
Oh yeah, that would be
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
hopefully, yeah. So
So, was it very much a conscious choice to when you started Mumbar Hub to make it a social enterprise? Was that it from the forefront? It was very intentional that yes, we want to make these products, but also we want to be able to give back in other ways.
it's funny actually, because when we started, like I said, it was all about having the conversation, and it was all about how can we deliver workshops and support for women. So we wanted to do that in a peer-to-peer sort of
Mm-hmm.
format and do that ourselves. But funnily, it went on the inverse, and it transformed in the fact that we provide the products to open up the conversation and then be able to self-sustain and be able to provide the service ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because yeah, so a business like that, if you're focusing solely on workshops, it's how do you sustain yourself? How do
Mm-hmm.
you make sure that you can be consistent with it?
Yeah.
And for us, once we received some solid business advice, that looked like
Mm-hmm.
the best model for us. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, nothing ever stays the same with business, as you'll know. I was trying to work out how to turn that off so that it wouldn't happen, but
But I think it's too late now that I'm in the middle of the Instagram live.
Yeah, you have to give me a tutorial afterwards, but
Yeah, that's fine. I can do that. No,
yeah,
but
because
I just
it's
wanted to
been so
say,
long since
I
I've
just
used it.
say that again.
I was saying it's been so long since I've used the live function that
Tell me
I'm like
about it.
trying to reacquaint myself. So,
The first time I did it, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. It took me a while to get
oh,
it. But no, I
ever
just wanted to
changing.
say thank you so much for being here in this space with me and
Oh,
sharing,
thank you.
because I just, from the minute I read about your brand, like a couple of years ago, I was just like, wow, like this is incredible. Just like how multifaceted it is, and that it deserves so much visibility, because I've always found a lot of the times when it comes to like alternative therapies and stuff, it
Mhm.
was always very much an issue of affordability for me.
Yeah,
And I know that that is a big factor in these things.
yeah,
There's women out there that want to try these things. They know about it, they want to try it, but in order to have it actually work and be able to do it for a decent amount of enough of time, because you can't just do one session of something and then expect to see changes.
this
You
is
have to
it.
have that continuation, and it just doesn't become an option because of cost.
Mhm.
And it's just, I have conversations with herbalists, with therapists all the time who say the same thing. It's like we would love to be able to provide these services, but at the same time they've got to live, which I completely understand. So it's just finding a way to make these things more accessible and more visible, and ultimately more affordable, because they need to be opened up to wider audiences. Because I honestly believe in my heart that it will change lives. It will completely change mothering experiences, and could just turn
Exactly.
it on its head for a mum that's experiencing like postpartum depression and so forth. Do you
Mhm.
know what I mean? And yeah,
I definitely do.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's what I was saying before. The education goes behind it, isn't it? But it shouldn't have to be something that is so exclusive or, out of
yeah.
bounds for some people. It should be
Mm-hmm.
accessible to everybody. And that's why,
Yeah.
um, you know, in addition to your question earlier, it's just about making sure women know how to use it and, what it's for and how it can really, empower them and make them
Mm-hmm.
feel physically and emotionally better
Mm-hmm.
to sort of prevent some of the poorer outcomes
No, I
post
completely
birth.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's 100% about changing the mindsets around it as well. Because like
Mm.
even when with my second pregnancy, I had placenta encapsulation, and like
Oh,
my
okay.
family was just like, ugh, that's disgusting. Why would you do? And it's such a common mindset. As soon as I told people, I knew that was what their reaction was
Yeah,
going to be. But it's just like changing that, just flipping that on its head. It's like, but it can do so much good. Like there's
exactly.
so many ridiculous benefits. Like why wouldn't I? And it
So
comes
how
from
did
my
you
body.
feel?
Why is that disgusting? Do you know what I mean? It's like
Mm.
changing those attitudes. The same way, like periods is still there's still a lot of stigma around periods and talking about them and seeing it, and it's
Hmm.
just the mindsets I feel that go alongside things like herbal medicine and stuff like that. It's always kind of seen alternative therapies, I think, sometimes gets quite a bad rap, and it's seen as quite like out there, and it just
Yeah,
needs to, yeah, and it
that's
just
the
needs to
thing,
be
but
normalized.
this is why I love your brand, and I purchase from you whenever people having babies because having a cup of tea is a very simple daily
Mm-hmm.
ritual, isn't it? It's like just
Mm-hmm.
inserting these things in your daily routine.
That's
It's
right.
possible. It's not it be impossible. You can do
Mm-hmm.
it. And so just making a simple cup of tea with some herbs such as I think I had like a sorrel tea or something from it. It was
Yeah, you
really
did.
lovely.
Oh, thank you. You
It
had the
just makes
postnatal boost.
the
Yeah.
postnatal one, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes such a difference to how you feel, it's just
Mm-hmm.
that boost.
Yeah.
And knowing that you're not putting anything toxic into your body is a
That's
plus.
right. Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
always promoting that for women. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
thank you.
lovely. No, thank
It's
you for
been
being
nice.
here with me today and talking us through your gorgeous. I keep saying brand, but social enterprise. I need to say
Yeah, it's a brand,
it is
social
a
enterprise,
brand.
it's a wellness product, but it's also a lifestyle choice. That's what I like to say. It's a lifestyle choice as well.
Yes, it is. It is. I feel
Because
like for these things to really benefit you, it has to be a lifestyle choice, especially when you're talking about the element of self-care, right? You have to make that time, because it's going to be so easy to say, oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for a cup of tea. I don't have time for a bath, you know, to use the soap.
Yeah.
But you have to make that time for yourself. You really
That's
do.
it. And a lot of second-time mothers are the ones that come to us and be like, I wish I tried this the first time. We notice that a lot. Second and third-time mothers a lot come back to us and say,
Oh,
you know, I wish I had
really?
this for my first birth. Yeah, because I feel like you said this earlier, when it's your first birth, you just sort of expect
Mm-hmm.
to, you know, go with
Yeah.
the flow and for it all
Yeah.
to come naturally.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. So thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you, Kayla.
I will be posting a blog from Mum Hub up on my website tomorrow. So guys, if you want some more information, you can go ahead and have a little read. I'll be posting on my Instagram when it's up on the website. So enjoy the rest of your day, lovely. And thanks again for being here with us today.
I know, despite the heat, we made it.
Despite the heat, thank you for doing this for me through the heat.
Yeah,
And
it was lovely.
you can
And
go
we'll do
back
it
to,
again.
yes,
Hopefully.
I would love to. I would love to. And best of luck with everything going forward.
You too. You
Thank
too.
you,
I'm always
darling.
supporting anyway. There'll
Oh,
be
of
some more orders
course.
coming through.
Always, always. But thank you, darling, and we'll catch up soon. Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for tuning
you.
in.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
Anisah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.